Hi guys, I just thought I'd film a quick video about this week's events that have been going on that aren't connected with the dreaded coronavirus. Some of you will know this week I had a admission to hospital. It was just for a day for some injections and then for an examination under general anaesthetic as well, to see what's been going on with my hip. And we now have at least got to the bottom of the problem, in that my hip is coming out of its socket when I'm moving around, so we now understand why I'm in pain. And also my pelvis is very stiff and I've got some muscle contractures, which is not good, which is why things have physically been becoming more difficult. So I don't know quite where we go from here, but I'm hoping there is a solution, because sitting in my chair for long periods is getting increasingly more uncomfortable and quite painful at points. Doing any kind of activity like pushing my chair is painful, and getting in and out of the car is getting increasingly more difficult, and it's having a direct impact on my independence and ability to be able to go out and about and do the things I want. I mean, it's already cost me my chance to do studying at a higher level, so I'm hoping we can come up with at least some kind of solution, because spending increasing amounts of time in bed isn't really good for you on many levels, and it's definitely not how I would like to spend the remainder of my life or anything. So with that's sort of the non-cheerful bit of the video over with. I mean, although it has given me more chance to do some more recreational reading than I've done for years, there is a limit to how much you can do lying down, and I do miss the outside world. So I'm hoping we do get some sort of solution and things can move along, although I think things will be halted a great deal with the coronavirus over the coming weeks, although I'm praying it's not too much for both myself and friends who've got procedures coming up that would obviously depend on the availability of hospital beds that might get taken up with the victims of the illness. But hopefully, I'm praying that things aren't quite as bad as we see in the media, although I'm just hoping that all these cautions that they're putting in place will have at least a positive effect, and that people will be able to get the help they need, both with the virus and without. And I'm hoping things can be resolved as soon as possible with the least amount of fatalities. But on a sort of more possibly upbeat note as well this week, I've been watching several YouTube videos, and I was watching a live stream of a young girl I've been following for about 18 months now, called Salma Bashir, who currently lives in Pennsylvania. I think it's Philadelphia, actually, specifically. She requires a multivisceral transplant. She's originally from Egypt, and came to the USA age 5 after having a swimming pool accident that resulted in her losing her intestines. It was a very horrific accident, and she originally received a small bowel transplant in the USA, and this failed a few months later, and she's going to try and go for a second transplant now, but because of the increasing health problems she has, it's going to have to be a multi-organ or multi-visceral transplant, because she's now what's called TPN dependent, and that's total parenteral nutrition, and that means that you can receive nutrition through a vein that means it bypasses any other kind of need for stomach and intestines, and this kind of nutrition can be very hard on particularly the liver, and this is why she now requires more organs than just a intestine transplant. However, because she's originally from Egypt and is in the USA on I think it's a tourist visa that gets extended every 6 months, and she's there for just medical treatment. She isn't able to access any kind of funding for transplant, within the US healthcare system, because obviously she's not a citizen, and so she's in a very unusual position, and she's trying to raise money to fund her own transplant that would enable her to eat for the first time in over 10 years. So because I was unable to eat for a day last Tuesday it was, sorry, I decided to add up what I would normally spend on food for, food intake for that day, and I donated this to Salma's account, although it was only a small amount, and she is working very much against the odds, because a multivisceral transplant will cost millions and millions of pounds, so without a mega financial donor to her cause, it's looking increasingly sort of unlikely that she'll be able to fund such a massive undertaking. But she's a very sparky young girl, and she does wonderful makeup tutorials on YouTube and Facebook, and it would be wonderful to see her succeed against the odds. And she's done amazingly well to survive this long, and she and her family are living in the most unusual circumstances, so it would be good to try and raise awareness, not just of the need to donate organs, but of Salma's particular case generally. So I'm going to insert a link to Salma's GoFundMe, and if anybody wants to share it or donate, they can do. I mean, sharing it would be wonderful, because it would enable more publicity and so forth. So I'm hoping that people will do that as soon as they can, and hopefully we can see this young lady succeed against the odds. I'll see you in my next video. Okay, thank you.